Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of AndrewsFootball.com. Welcome to Super Bowl Sunday. I'm excited. You're excited. And I'm going to go ahead and reveal the greatest Super Bowl team of all time. In the comments section below, I'm going to go ahead and list the teams 2 through 10 on there. And before I reveal the greatest Super Bowl team of all time, how did I get to this conclusion? What type of data did I look over it? Now, just to condense this, I looked at a lot of different things. I looked at Hall of Fame players, specifically Hall of Fame quarterback. That meant a lot to me. Quarterback or quarterback position, if he was just a Pro Bowl quarterback or a really good quarterback who's not in the Hall of Fame. There was only one on my list that wasn't in the Hall of Fame. He had a Pro Bowl season, and that's Jim McMahon. How good did they do that year? That was something really important. I look at the head coach, assistant coaches. Was the team peaking? Did the team have success before and after? Was it a one-hit wonder? Caliber of offense and defense. Was it a balanced offense? Did you have just a good passing team? Remember I talked about the 96 Packers making the cut? Well, they were a passing team that really wasn't able to run the ball. Was it a balanced offense? Did they have a balanced defense? Was it just a good secondary, weak front seven? That solid front seven, but weak secondary. I took that into consideration. I took in count a lot of different things, but ultimately, the greatest Super Bowl team of all time should not be a surprise, even though most people don't consider the 1972 Miami Dolphins the greatest Super Bowl team of all time. They are the greatest Super Bowl team of all time. 53 Super Bowls. The 53rd Super Bowl is played today. Only one of them went undefeated and won, and that's 72 Miami Dolphins. And I'm still in shock of why more people don't consider this the greatest team of all time. And I understand the no-name defense, not a lot of stars. Nick Buoniconti is the only one in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But here's the thing you got to look at. This defense, 14-game season, 3 shutouts, 12.2 points a game. The 85 Bears gave up 12.4. Most of the time, 12.2 is less than 12.4. So you have a team that gave up fewer points than the 85 Bears. That's not bad. All right? You have 72 Dolphins defense, first in points, first in yards, first in first downs against, second in turnovers. Remember, Jake Scott won MVP with 2 interceptions. So you have a really underrated defense, but a defense that creates lots of turnovers. I think that's really huge. On offense, 2,960 yards. Most yards rushing per game except for the 73 Buffalo Bills. Of course, that's OJ's famous 2003-yard season. But unlike the 73 Bills, who threw for a total of 997 yards, they were actually doubled up by their opponents. 72 Dolphins had first-team All-Pro Earl Morrall. If you remember, he was the quarterback for the Baltimore Colts Super Bowl III with their head coach, Don Shula. All right, Bob Greasy ended up going down, missed a large part of the game. Earl Morrall came in, kept the undefeated streak alive. So, backup quarterbacks, first-team All-Pro, former NFL MVP. Bob Greasy, Pro Football Hall of Fame. With the second greatest passing attack of all time, but unlike the 73 Bills, the 72 Dolphins outthrew their opponents. So you have the second best running attack of all time, but they still had over 300 more total yards than their opponents. So imagine how awesome of an offense that is. Oh yeah, by the way, they gave up less points than the 85 Bears. That's not bad, okay? And so here's what you got. A very underrated, but one of the best defenses of all time. The all-time best, second all-time best rushing attack with a Hall of Fame quarterback. Paul Warfield, Hall of Fame wide receiver. Larry Zonka, over 5.5 yards carry. Mercury Morris, over 5 yards carry. Both of them hit over 1,000 yards. Mercury Morris is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I originally thought he was. My mistake. Still, you have 5 Hall of Famers on offense. That's not bad. Plus, of the defense that gave up fewer points than the 85 Bears. I'm really shocked that more people don't consider this the greatest team of all time. Very underrated team. But would they have beaten the 66 Packers? All right. Well, Don Shula, all-time winningest coach. Is he better than Lombardi? Let's say they give it to Lombardi. But here's the thing I want you to consider when you look at the 72 Dolphins. For the AFC Championship game, for some weird reason, they actually had to travel to Pittsburgh. If you know your history, how did the Steelers get there? If you remember, it was a very famous play. It was the Immaculate Reception. All right, of course, Raiders fans call it the Immaculate Deception, but that's another topic for another day. But you go ahead and you have one of the all-time greatest plays that propel you to the AFC Championship game, and you have that AFC Championship game at home. It ends up being the team of the 70s, and they lose because they lost to the greatest Super Bowl team of all time. The Miami Dolphins had to travel to Three Rivers Stadium. They had to beat the team of the 70s, arguably the greatest dynasty of all time, to advance to the Super Bowl. They lost the previous Super Bowl against the Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl VI. They ended up losing that game. They came back. Here's another thing. I have to put an asterisk by the Super Bowl because they ended up winning Super Bowl VIII. Larry Zonka was MVP of that game. So you have Zonka peaking at the right time. Mercury Morris peaking at the right time. This Miami Dolphins peaking at the right time. Some people may say the 73 Dolphins belong on this list. I kind of give them an asterisk. But one thing I want you to consider is, I know I got a little sidetracked about beating the 66 Dolphins, but when you look at assistant coaches, Howard Schellenberger, he took over as the Baltimore Colts head coach the following year. Matter of fact, one of the losses that the 73 Dolphins had was the Schellenberger's Colts. But he's most famous for, if you ever hear the U, University of Miami, Hurricanes, it all started with Howard Schellenberger. So he went ahead and rebuilt. Matter of fact, you go to ESPN, find how many episodes they got to do. I think it's like 3 or 4 of those 30 for 30 specials all started with Howard Schellenberger, who started off coaching as the offensive coordinator. So coaching's a big thing. Okay, let me get back to it. Unlike Green Bay, who had to play in Lambeau Field, huge home field advantage, the Miami Dolphins, team from Florida, had to go up to Pittsburgh and play against Steel Curtain, against a team that had the Immaculate Reception, beat them. Did Green Bay go on the road to go to the Super Bowl? No, they didn't. They were at very cold but very comfortable Lambeau. So you have a team that's able to go on the road versus a team that didn't have to. All right, I got Miami 27.5 points a game. I had Green Bay 23.9. Yes, the defense was better, giving up only 11.6 versus 12.2. But I got a 3.5 point difference on offense. I got a half point on defense. In the running game, which is paramount because this is the second best running attack of all time, Green Bay was only 6th against the run. Now, the Redskins, who was a really good team, are they as good as the 66 Packers? No, they weren't, but they were 7th, 6 and 7. You know, that's about as close as you can get, one number. All right. In the Super Bowl, Miami ran for 184 yards, 5.0 yards per carry, and a touchdown. So is it inconceivable? By the way, let me throw this out there. 2,960 yards for the whole season. For the 2018 NFL season, 32 teams, only 8 of them hit over 2,000. Number 1 was Seattle, 2,560. This Dolphins team ran for 400 more yards and in 2 fewer games. So the reason why they would beat the 66 Packers, I'm going to give a slight edge to coaching. I'm only giving a slight edge to coaching. Am I telling you Lombardi's better than am I telling you Lombardi's better than Shula? No, I'm not. Howard Schellenberger, is he better than Jerry Burns, who ended up becoming a NFL head coach of himself? I'm going to say yes. Schellenberger did something phenomenal. He did something revolutionary. The U is still the U today. You can watch, matter of fact, when you do Super Bowl, one of those players from Miami, they're going to say the U. That's Howard Schellenberger. All right? So I'm going to say coaching by hair. Just hair. You want to say Packers got better coaching? I'll give you that. But the Packers be able to stop this running attack? I don't know. They'd slow him down. But Zonka, are you going to tell me he's not going to be able to get 100 yards? He was MVP the next Super Bowl. He did against Purple People Eaters. That was really impressive. And the Minnesota Vikings, that was a good team. Minnesota Vikings, by the way, that year gave up 12 points a game. Zonka won MVP. That's all I'm telling you. So you have the second greatest running attack of all time versus a good great defense, they're still going to get it done. I'm going to argue better coaching all day long, but ultimately a team that went on the road. And the only team in NFL history who went undefeated and won the Super Bowl, I'll argue this with anybody. Go ahead and let the debates begin. So enjoy the Super Bowl. I'm going to enjoy the Super Bowl. I'm very excited about it. I hope you are too. By the way, if you haven't already, there's this little button down here. See that button? Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And, of course, until next time.